Camacho Ali. Welcome to the show, Khalilah.
I'm so happy to be here, Blanca. Thank you so much. We've been looking for this for a long time, and now it's here, and I'm so proud of you. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for being my true friend.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
we have been on many adventures together.
Yes, we have.
I've interviewed you a number of times over our 7-year friendship,
Yes.
both on the laws of life, on our crazy adventurous car rides,
Yes.
and through all the adventures that we've shared together. And today is the first time where we have the space to have a real conversation and really dig deep about who you are as a woman.
Yes.
So let's start at the real beginning, because
Okay.
we are going to get to know Dr. Khalilah Camacho Ali today, the
Okay.
first wife of Muhammad Ali,
Yes, ma'am.
the greatest boxer that ever lived.
Yeah.
So
Yes, I'm the first family. That's it. How it starts.
the first lady of the Ali
Yeah.
family. It's
Yes,
amazing.
ma'am.
So let's start off with your childhood.
Mhm.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Chicago, Illinois. Um, my mother and father very religious, and they were Muslims in the early 40s, and I was born in 50. So um, my first encounter of being a Muslim, I went to a Muslim school. I didn't go to a public school. I went to a Muslim school from kindergarten through 12th grade, and it's an Islamic private school, and that's where I learned about my religion. And then the reading, writing, and arithmetic came after that. So we had a lot of spiritual enlightenment and discipline in the school. And I was a busybody. I don't like to sit down at the desk and it gets bored. So I like
You
to
a busybody?
I'm a busybody. I like to work on the bulletin boards. I want to have something to do. I like activism when I was in school.
So you've always been bubbly and social right from day one.
Basically, I was not bubbly. I wasn't that bubbly, but I was very active. I didn't say much. I was kind of very shy. Believe that. I was very shy, and but I liked the activity. I liked putting things on the bulletin board or doing artwork in school, and that made me happy. There had a couple of kids that were bullied. Um, when I was in kindergarten and first grade, there was a person that was like kind of poor, and they used to pick on this little girl, and her name was Charlene. And Charlene and Rhoda was friends of my mom's and dad's and their family, and they would pick on Charlene a lot. And I would carry Charlene as my assistant so I could keep my eye on her. Because if I left the classroom, they would pick on her. They wouldn't touch her if I was in the room.
So you were her protector.
I was her protector, and I didn't realize they bully people. I didn't realize that. So I was one of you know how you see an apple on the desk of the teacher. I was the one that gave the teacher the apple. That was me. So, but I was a pretty big girl, and I knew martial arts. So nobody really dared to mess with me, and so they really didn't do anything. But when I started asking on Fridays before the weekend, I would always ask the teacher for homework.
I did that too,
Yeah, I would
actually.
ask you, what kind of homework do we got? What kind of homework? And when I went to the bathroom, I got locked in the bathroom. They didn't let me come out, so I wouldn't ask the teacher for
Oh
homework.
my
And
goodness.
all the school buses had left and went home, and my mom said, I didn't get off the bus. They said, where's my daughter? I said, which we don't know. She says, well, she didn't get on the bus. And the janitor heard me going, hello, get me out of here. And the janitor found out I was locked in the bathroom. They put this room adjacent to the door, and I couldn't get out.
That's
They
crazy.
locked me in.
Just because
They couldn't whoop me, so they just locked me in the bathroom. So that's how I realized bullying starts with kids. And
in that situation, did you feel bullied because of being locked up? Even though it wasn't a physical or verbal bullying, did you
it felt pretty big bullying to me because you're trapped in the bathroom.
How
You
many
can't get
hours
out.
were you in there?
I was about an hour and a half.
Were you crying?
I tried a little bit. I tried a little bit. I couldn't, but what made me cry is because I couldn't figure out who did it.
Wow.
And I'm glad I didn't.
It only happened one time?
That was enough for me. I didn't ask for no more homework.
So you never
on Friday.
asked for homework
No.
again. So what did your parents do for a living?
My father worked for American Can Company. He was a lithograph department, and he was there. He went to the army and came back. He still had his job. You're talking about steadfast. My father put the S in steadfast. He stays in the one place and be consistent. He went to the army, came back, had his job back, and he retired from that company in Chicago. My mother was mathematically savvy. You could say 25, 62, 73. She'll say 757. She'd do it right on the spot. She's very active in mathematics. So she worked for a clothing store downtown Chicago. And while they were working, I stayed in the leader's home, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and I stayed with his grandchildren. And I had to guard the grandkids. Even though I was younger than some of them, I was watching over them, and I would have to tell them if they do anything wrong to let them know. I never told on them anyway, but I warned them, but I never told on them.
So let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
What are the top 3 qualities that your mother had? 3 words to describe her.
Well, my mother, she is a person who cooks, and she's always there for you. Everything you need, she gives you. But I think I was more influenced by my father than my mother.
Okay.
My father, he was an international man. For instance, my father's very strict. He was a military man, so you had to make your bed up. A quarter have to bounce off the sheet.
Wow.
Oh yeah, he was military.
I would not do well in that household.
Oh, he was a drill sergeant from the T.
Wow.
He would tell you no lights supposed to be on in the house in the daytime at hours. Oh, you come to the table, whatever your food gets on your plate, you got to eat it all, or you don't leave the table. My father I was a daddy's girl. But this is one time I realized what kind of person my father was. He was from the South. He has a little Southern drawl. But I asked my dad when I was 8 years old, I said, Dad, I got a question. Why is it that I, and only me, out of this whole family, have to eat corned beef and cabbage on my birthday and nobody else does? He said, honey, you were born on the St. Patrick's Day. That's a day, festival for the Irish. You even have Irish in your blood. But let me tell you about the Irish people. They drink and they fight in that order. And they fight for what they believe in. They're good people. They have developed beautiful Celtic music. They have a beautiful dance. They dance for their country. They're just the most amazing people you ever want to meet. I said, really? Irish people? He said, yes, the Irish. And the women have beautiful red hair. And they're just beautiful people. I said, really? I said, wow. And so we sat down and looked at a movie called The Quiet Man with John Wayne and Maureen O'Hara. And my father looked at it, and I looked at it. It was beautiful, about the Irish people, the land of Ireland. He told me all this good stuff. But yet, my father was in the Korean War. He was stationed in Okinawa.
Okay.
And he would send me chopsticks from Japan. And when he came from Japan, he would speak Japanese to me, certain words in Japanese. He said, let me tell you about the Japanese. These people are beautiful. They speak, they're humble, they're submissive. They're just beautiful. What I want you to do, I want you to eat with these Japanese sticks until you learn how to eat with them well. Man, that was the worst day of my life. I couldn't hardly pick nothing up with it until I actually learned how to do it.
And now you love sushi too, right?
I eat sushi. I eat anything Japanese. But the fact of it is, this man, every time I talk about a certain race,
He loves it.
he would tell me the most beautiful thing about him.
Did he travel the world
He
in the
traveled,
military?
yes, in the military.
So it sounds like your father was very cultured
He
and
was
had
very
a deep
cultured with people.
appreciation.
Yeah,
Was he kind?
very kind. He never said much, but when you ask him something, he'll give you the rundown. He was done. He didn't talk much.
He didn't talk much, but he was loving. He
was
told you he
loving.
loved you.
He told us discipline, how to be kind to people. Do not fight. He said people will make you fight them, and you don't want to do. You ignore that because they'll try to mess your life up.
Did he tell you he loved you every single day?
No.
Did you want him to?
No. He showed me every day.
He showed you.
The way he sat down and took time with me.
That's good.
That was love right there.
So as a child, you felt deeply loved by your parents?
Oh yeah. They didn't. He wasn't the hugging type, but I know he loved me because if I did anything wrong, I'd get spanking on my bottom, but it wouldn't be hard. It was just to let him know it was wrong.
So let me ask you this. You say that your dad is the biggest influence.
Yeah.
And
I was just a daddy's girl, you know. Mommy was good. She's nice. She don't say much. She cooks and she cleans and she put things on the table. She's always there. Right. I know she loves us and everything, but you know, like I said, I'm a daddy's girl. I worship my dad. I saw my dad playing baseball in the backyard one time. He swung the bat, hit the ground, and I cried. Almost had a heart attack just seeing him fall to the ground. And then my mother said, he's playing baseball, just a postal ball. He said, but that's my dad. He said, don't worry about your dad. He's going to get back up. And it broke my heart for him to hit the ground like that.
What was, what do you think
it was just,
is your quality that lives inside of you today?
Yeah.
That your father instilled?
And my mother. And,
yeah, your mother, your father.
But see, this is the thing. My mother and my father.
Yeah.
I mean, they were amazing people. I mean, let me tell you something about my mom, okay? And it's just me alone right now before I had sisters and brothers. I would see my mama sitting on the couch and she would be knitting or sewing or socks or whatever. And my daddy would be sitting in his lazy boy. And he always have his shoes on the side of the chair. And I'm in the middle and we're all looking at TV together. And my dad, he looks at my mom, he goes, honey, give me my shoes, please. I said, Dad, your shoes are right next to your chair. You're going to make my mom get up out of her chair to come over to give you your shoe? Are you kidding me? I said, Mommy, you're actually going to get up? And she didn't look at me. She looked at him flirting, saying, I love giving my baby his shoes. I go, oh my God, this is terrible. I said, I'll never get married. And
you actually thought that? I'm not getting married?
Yeah, I said, I'm not doing that. And then my mom gets up and she looks at my dad and they flirt like I'm not even in the room. And I go, I don't believe. And she gets up and she puts his shoes on his feet and they're smirking and flirting. And I go, oh my goodness. I said, no way. I'm not ever getting married.
But you did get married.
But I did. So but those little things that she showed me and my dad, the love that they have for one another. They didn't scream at each other. They never cussed at each other. They never did any of that. So, you know, it was like a boring life. It was kind of boring, no excitement at home. You know, that's what I'm thinking, right? But this is what happened. My mother said, no, honey, that's not right. He said, yes, it is. I go, oh, we getting ready to get something going on. And then I looked and said, we going to have some fun. And my sister and brother looked and said, ain't nothing going to happen. Ain't nothing going to happen. And so my father said, come here. They looked like they was in disagreement. And I'm waiting to see something happen. They went into the room and closed their door. And I'm trying to listen to see what's going to happen. Nothing happened. I didn't hear nothing. They come out smiling and everything and go, well, what happened, Dad? You didn't give us no excitement. What's going on? He says, let me tell you something. Your children are your children. You don't fuss, collar in front of your children. It is none of their business what you're talking about. So keep the voice low. Go in the room and discuss it, not in front of the kids. You are here to keep us in order. I said, wow, that is amazing.
I do like that.
They
So
were
you're
married 68 years without any profanity, no profanity ever, no
love that.
fussing, no cussing, none of that ever in my house with my mother and dad.
That's
Never.
probably why they did stay
They
married
did that.
because they had
Yeah.
and,
They
and
had a communication.
yeah, and that's one of your best qualities is
Yeah.
respect. You're
Yeah.
always
I
respectful.
thought that was so beautiful.
And you never use profanity.
Yeah,
I've
I
never
try not to, but I've done. I slipped out a couple of times. I slipped out, but it's not something. It's my forte. It's not my forte.
It sounds like your parents were very solid, kind, loving people.
They instead of preaching or teaching,
yeah,
they showed us by their mannerism how they acted.
So what do you think is the best quality you have in one word because of them?
Respect, kindness, and respect. I've always had that with all people, all elderly, especially elderly people. And one time I screamed at my mother about something. I said, "Oh my goodness, I can't do that. I cannot do that." And I said, "Mommy, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I screamed at you. I'm not gonna go there." And I never did. I stopped doing that.
I love it. It's interesting.
I learned a lot from them. Just by observing them. There wasn't preaching and teaching. You can't do this. You can't do it. None of that. They just did it by the way their actions were. It was boring, but it's okay. I learned a lot from.
Listen,
every year they had their anniversary.
Yeah.
We would say, "Dad, Mom, what's your secret?" He said, "You know my secret. You watch us every day."
It sounds like we had very similar childhoods. Yeah, because my parents never discussed conflict in front of the kids.
Right.
Do you want to know something? They spoke Romanian so that we wouldn't understand
what they were saying.
A lot of people say, "Why don't you speak Romanian, Blanca?" Because that's what they spoke when they didn't want me to understand. But clearly, you have turned into one of the most influential women in the world. And you have toured the world, you have spoken at various countries, done multiple speeches, written books, been in movies, and of course, you are also famous for being the first wife of Muhammad Ali. So walk us through that, because I know you met Muhammad at a very young age.
Yeah.
How old were you?
I was 10. He was 18.
And how did you meet?
Well, like I said, I was in a Muslim school, very devout Muslim. At 10 years old, I didn't know anything about sports that much. We didn't do too much sports or anything like that. My dad liked baseball, and I was a big Lou Gehrig fan, but not for boxing. And then we had this young man in 1960. This young man had won the Olympics. Everybody wasn't into the Olympics back then. Only people who was part of the Olympics would be part of the Olympics. You know, not everybody really got into it like they do now. So this man comes in our school, and he gets on stage, and he said that, "I'm going to be the heavyweight champion of the world before I'm 21, so get your autographs now, because I'm going to be famous." I said, "Boy, what's wrong with this guy? Well, how does he know what he's going to be at 21? You know?" And everybody looking at him, and a lot of people in my school, they know me. They know I'm very positive and very strong like that. He said, "Oh, he's acting just like Khalilah."
You're kidding.
Because they knew me. They didn't know him. And he saw him and said, "Boy, he's acting like Khalilah." You know, he said, and then he got down and he gave all the boys autographs and he gave all the girls autographs. And he came up to me and he gave me an autograph. I said, "Wait a minute, whoa. I said, "This your name? Your name is Cassius Marcellus Clay?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "You know, Cassius Marcellus, that's a Roman name. You know that? Do you know what Romans did to people?" He said, "No." He said, "And here's the kicker here, Clay, this like dirt you mowed, and you proud of this?" And he said, "Yeah, I thought I was." And then I tore up the autograph. I said, "Man, until you get a name of honor until you get a name of respect. Matter of fact, until you get a Muslim name, you're not gonna be famous with this. He said, you take that back with you. I don't want it.
And you said this to him in the first moment of meeting him?
That's the first moment. And then he's go, whoa, whoa, whoa. And then I walked away. And I can hear him in the background say, she told my name, man. She told my name. Who is she? I said, man, you don't want to go there, man. You're a father. Forget about it, man. She's the princess of Islam. Mm-mm. He said, she probably just teaching you something. You know, she's Muslim and everything. I said, yeah. But she told my name, man. That ain't right. And I think I just got locked in his head like that. And he was like upset. He was totally upset.
Where did you get the courage at this age to tear up a name of someone that's coming to speak at your school?
Well, you know, see, we're Muslims and we respect Muslim names. You know, those names are like slave master names, you know, that we had as slaves. And, you know, we don't respect that. You know, that's why we have X on our name, because we're going to have our future name in the future. We're Muslims. We're going to have Muslim names. We ain't gonna have no slave master name. We still slaves. You know, we ain't gonna have that. All these people, you know, you taking white slave master names. We got beautiful cultural names.
So
but
what,
that's what I was raised to know.
So what happened after the tear up?
You know, he kept coming looking for me, and I stayed out of his way. I said what I had to say. I was done.
Well, obviously,
I was kind of upset that I tore up the autograph, but later on, so I meant what I said.
Did he ask you on a date?
No, not then and there. I was only 10, but he would come back to the mosque, and he would come, and he was going to fight Sonny Liston and all of that, and so he would come back to the school. He would always visit a Muslim school all the time.
I see. Okay.
But I would stay out of the picture. I had to say what I had to say. I was done with it. But he still had it on his mind. But why she tell my name?
So how many?
I think that's what put the target on his forehead. Me.
So obviously you were only 10 when you met.
I was 10. Then he
so how many years did you stay in touch before the romance began to brew?
Oh, no. It wasn't no romance. But then I heard Sonny Liston. I saw Sonny Liston on TV, and we're Muslims, right? And Sonny Liston said on TV, I'm going to knock out that black Muslim. I said, what is wrong with this guy? We're not black Muslims. There's no color to Muslims. We're just Muslims. You don't call us black Muslims. I said, you guys let me know when Cassius Clay come back here. You let me know. I got something for him. So somebody told me Clay was back. And by that time, I was like 14.
Okay.
It was like, 4 years later, he kept coming back. I just stayed out of the picture.
So then what happened?
When he came back, I said, let me know. So I hated Sonny Liston. I hated that guy so bad. I said, I tell you what, I'm going to write. I found out Clay likes poems, and he always doing one-liners and stuff. I said, let me write this poem. I wrote a poem. I said, let me know when he comes. He said, he's here. And then I called him, and I did like this. And he came and said, you want me? He acted like, I said, yeah, you. And then he came, and I'm 14. I'm a little taller, a little bigger. And I said, look, this is a poem. You want a poem? This is a poem for you. You take this poem, you give it to Sonny Liston, because I don't like it. You know what I mean? And I walked away again. Then I thought about it. I said, nah, he's not going to give that to Sonny Liston. He ain't gonna, I go home, And when I get home, my dad, as you know, is a very strict Muslim, very serious. If he asks you a question, you better give him the right answer, because he already knows the answer. So my dad said, come here. And I go, oh, my goodness, that don't sound good. And he said, did you give a fighter a poem today on a brown paper bag today? I go, yes, sir, I did. How did you find out so quickly? He said, well, he's on TV reading it right now. I said, what? He's on TV reading it? And I go into TV, there he was, reading the poem.
So Muhammad Ali read your poem out loud
on television
that you wrote for him at the age of 14.
At the age of 14.
Do you remember the poem?
Are you kidding me?
Would you like to recite it?
I would love to recite it. Okay. So he's got the paper on TV. I wish I could get that. I think I could probably find that little footage.
Oh, wow.
He said, this is the legend of Cassius Clay. And he was reading it. This is Legend of Cassius Clay, the most beautiful fighter in the world today. This fist fights great. He's got speed and endurance. But if you're trying to sign to fight him, increase your insurance. This kid's got a left. This kid's got a right. Look at the kid carry the fight. All the crowd is getting frantic. There's not enough room. They Ali lowers the boom. That's the upgrade. Who would have thought when it came to the fight, they'd see a spook satellite? No one would dream when they put down their money, they'd see a total eclipse of the sun. There he is.
Incredible.
I said, he made my point famous. I was so excited. I couldn't believe it. I said, oh my goodness.
You must have gone crazy. Were you jumping up and down?
I was going nuts. I was in my house. I was going nuts. And then I went back to school. Everybody said, I saw your dad on TV. I saw your boy on TV. I said, I'm going to marry him. He said, what? I said, I'm going to marry him.
You said this to your father?
I said this to everybody in school.
Did they believe you?
No. But later they said, she said it. Matter of fact, just recently, when I was in Detroit, Michigan, I ran into two women who heard me say that in the bathroom, that I was going to marry him. He said, and she actually did. And I didn't know who heard it or anything, but I actually met the women who heard it. And they said, we thought you was crazy.
When you saw Muhammad Ali on TV reading the
Cassius
poem,
Clay.
Cassius Clay at that point,
yes,
soon later to be, how did you know that you wanted to marry him? What went through your mind?
Because he was a lot like me. I was very direct, very teachable. He was very beautiful, and people listened to him. I was attracted to him as far as speeching. He knew what he wanted. He knew how he wanted it. And he was very positive, and I admire that because I was very positive when I was a kid growing up.
Was he a talker, or was he more of a quiet man?
Well, when he had something to say, he talked, but when he didn't have nothing to say, he'd be quiet. He'd make his point, and I like that about him. I appreciate it because I was the same way.
What happened after the poem on television? Where did your relationship go next?
So 2 years later, a lot of stuff happened in between that. He got married to one young woman, and she didn't want to become a Muslim. And she was a beautiful woman, Afro-American woman. She looked to me, she looked almost like a black Elizabeth Taylor. She was very beautiful, very short. And I was happy for him because a lot of men in our world back in those days that were popular, the first thing he would do is marry a white woman. And I was glad he married his own kind. And I thought it was beautiful.
You weren't jealous?
I didn't really love him like that. I just admired him. I admired him. I didn't love him like a girl love a boy.
You weren't at that point
Not at that point.
So he marries this woman.
I was very proud of him. I was so happy that he married a beautiful black sister. And she was gorgeous. And he wanted her to be a Muslim. But she wasn't going for that.
So they got a divorce, obviously.
Yeah, they got a,
Now,
it was like
obviously we didn't have
texting.
In a moment,
yeah.
And these days there was no texting. Did he ever call? Did you have any telephonic connection over the years?
Yeah, he called me. He would come to the bakery where I work at, and he would try to talk to me in the bakery. And the women were so jealous in the bakery, they would ship me to different bakeries. So they would come and see him, but he was actually coming there to see me. So when they put me in a bakery way on the other side of town, he still came on the other side of town. You know what I mean?
When he came to visit you at the bakery, was it still a platonic friendship?
Still platonic.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So when does it go to the next level of the good stuff, the romance?
Okay. There was no romance. It was just the fact that he followed me coming from work one day.
Okay.
He said, "Sister, I can drive you home. I know you live out in the suburbs. I'll drive you home." I said, "No, brother." I said, "I can't get in your car because I'd have to get permission from my father to get in your car. I can't get in your car." And it was raining. I said, "I'm not going to get wet. I'm not going to melt or anything. I do this all the time." I said, "I can't get in your car. I'm sorry." And he said, "Okay." So when I got on the bus to go all the way to Blue Island, Illinois, and when I got off the bus, I found out he followed the bus all the way to Blue Island, Illinois. And I go, "Man, I can't get in your car, dude." It was an overpass. I had to walk over a mile and a half and it was raining, and he just walked on the side of me with the window down, talking to me in the rain as I walked over the overpass.
That sounds pretty romantic.
Yeah, that's kind of weird, man. I mean,
that shows a lot of hustle.
Is that
I mean,
what it was?
I mean, most people don't, follow buses.
Oh, he followed. You would consider that a stalker, right? No,
Well,
but see,
I
back in those
consider
days,
it an act of romance.
It was. And then when we got home, my dad says, "She didn't get in your car." He said, "No, she wouldn't get in my car." He said, "You didn't get permission." You said, "She right. She wasn't supposed to get in your car."
So what happens when you get back to the casita?
He started asking my dad how old they were when they got married and all that. I go, "Why is he asking all these questions?" And he started asking my cousin. He went to my kitchen where my mom was. Mama said, "Yeah, ask her father." And they would go back and forth. I said, "Why don't you just stay for dinner and you can talk to him at the same time at the table? Why don't you just wait, until you get together? You're going back and forth. I'm going, this guy's nuts. You're going back and forth." I didn't know what was going on in his head.
And at this stage, how old are you at this dinner?
16.
So now you're 16. This is the first time Cassius Clay, a.k.a. Muhammad Ali, met your parents? The first time at this dinner? How did your parents like him?
They liked him and everything, but what happened was he got drafted. And then he asked me, he said, they draft me, I have to go to the army. I said, let me tell you something. I said, you become Muslim, they won't do that to you. You become a Muslim because we don't fight white men's wars. He said, but they're going to take everything. I said, they're going to put me in jail. I said, they ain't going to put you in jail. How do you know all this? You haven't been anywhere. How do you know that? I said, I know people, man. They ain't going to put you in jail. And then he said, well, I'm going to go to Elijah Muhammad. I'm going to ask him, about the war and thing. He said, yeah, she was right. Melinda was right. We don't fight white man's war. He said, she still calls me Dirt. Can you give me a Muslim name? He said, okay, I'll give you a Muslim name. Yeah. I'll tell you that part of the book.
So you're 16 years old, and you're smart enough and wise enough to tell him that he can change his name.
Yeah, you have to change your name.
And did he avoid the draft successfully?
Yes, he did. He did. He would call me on the phone and talk to me about the draft and everything.
And you told him to call himself?
I told him, I said, no, I didn't tell him anything. I just said, he said, well, then he went to Elijah Muhammad, the leader, and he said, man, she's still calling me Dirt. He said, I'll give you a name. So my father actually is his security guard, and he happened to be there that particular night. And Elijah Muhammad said, this guy right here, I'll take a bullet for me. He's my security guard. I'm going to give you his last name, Ali. And I'm going to give you Muhammad. You're going to be Muhammad Ali. And that was really nice. And then he came to tell me about it. And I was working in the restaurant, Muslim restaurant. And he said, I got something to tell you. I said, brother, you see this long line? There's a lot of brothers and sisters trying. You can't butt the line. You got to get in the line. You can't butt the line. That ain't nice. And he got at the end of the line. Everybody's going, no, it's okay. And he got at the end of the line. I was still 16.
So you're still 16.
I'm still 16.
And now your friend, Cassius Clay, you're not calling him Dirt anymore.
No.
Now.
But this thing, he came up to me and said, guess what? I said, what? He said, my name Muhammad Ali. I said, good for you. So I already know how he got it. So
when he told you, because that's one of the landmark moments in the history of Muhammad Ali.
He said, do you want my autograph now? I said, I'll get it. I said, you got to be Muhammad Ali for a while. You got to get feel for it. I'll get it later.
You are tough. Yeah. First, you tell him to change.
I did get an autograph, though.
You did get the autograph.
My marriage license.
But wait a minute. Yeah. I want to go back to this quintessential moment.
Yes.
Where were you when he told you, I'm now Muhammad Ali? Where were you physically?
I was at the restaurant at the time.
At the restaurant.
He came to tell me.
And were you excited, happy? Did you hug him?
No, I just said, good for you. Good for you. He said, do you want my autograph now? I said, no, I'll get it later. You got to be Muhammad Ali for a minute. Just get used to it.
I find that to be remarkable
Yeah.
that at the age of 16, you still had the second level of confidence to say, okay, now you're Muhammad Ali, but you know what? Prove it through action.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to just be that. You got to learn to be that.
Why was that necessary to you? Why did he now have to live up to the name?
Because you have to realize that Elijah Muhammad have a lot of grandchildren, a lot of women, girls. They was all after him. So I just backed off. I said, they was all after him. They was going out to their dinners and their house for dinner and everything. And I just backed off,
Was this a subliminal?
I just didn't want to be the one he was after it.
You didn't want to be one of his, what do they call those people that follow people? Groupies.
Groupies.
You didn't want to be that. You didn't want to be.
I wanted to stand my ground.
Were you subliminally playing hard to get?
I didn't know that was. I just didn't want to be like the others. Wanted to be around them, and even though I liked them and everything, I admired them and everything. My sister would see me. She says, "Oh, she really likes them," but when she's around them, she's cool.
You are one.
I don't. I don't know what hard to get meant. I was only 16. I'm a virgin. I don't know what hard to get meant.
But you were.
I just knew I didn't want to be like everybody else after the guy.
But I gotta tell you, I'm mega impressed that at the age of 16 you had the confidence. First you tear up his name, then you tell him to change his name, and then you tell him to live up to his name.
Yep.
And I just want to know, where did that confidence come from?
I've always had confidence. This is the thing. When I had confidence in what I say, because he would come to me and he would say, I'm not going to the army. I'm going to listen to you. I'm not going to go to the army. Don't worry about it. You're going to be okay. So one day somebody's going to come to you and they're going to give you a license. I said, don't you know the gangsters out there run the sports world? They would rather see you fight than to go to jail. It's inevitable. It's inevitable. He said, really? And every time I would say something, it would come out to be true. And I was just a feeling. It's just a feeling that I had. So you're going to be fine. You're going to be strong.
Where did it go?
And then he wanted to marry me. He said,
right.
Well, you're going to be my wife then. I said, okay. And so he said, but I don't have anything to give you.
So let me ask you this.
I don't have They didn't have any money.
Pause for 1 minute.
Yeah.
So he tells you he changes his name to Muhammad Ali. You say, go prove it. How many weeks later pass when he says, I want you to be my wife? Is it in that same conversation?
16.
Or a little bit later?
A little bit later.
A couple weeks?
Yeah.
A couple months?
Yeah, but his name was given by Elijah Muhammad. He didn't change his name.
Right.
It was given.
But fundamentally, he had a shift
in his identification. Now you're a beautiful person. You have a beautiful name. You're a free Muslim. You're not a slave anymore. You're a free man now. You're a free black man. You can do whatever you want, and it will come to you.
When he tells you he wants you to be his wife, where are we now? Are we at your house?
Yep. It was right after my graduation. I graduated when I was 16. But this is the trick. He came to a man who was secretary of the Nation of Islam, and the secretary knows me, John Ali. He went to John Ali, and he said, why don't you ask her, if somebody asked him to marry you, what would she say? And then John came and asked me, what would you do if somebody asked you to marry him? I said, I'd say no. I would never say yes to a man. So Clay did not ask me. He said, you're going to be my wife. I said, that's a different approach. So that's when I knew I was going to marry him.
So
he tried to figure that out way before he came to ask me. He didn't want to ask me because he got somebody else to ask me.
Well, that's pretty confident. So instead of framing it as a question, he indicated it as a declaration.
As a declaration.
So if he would have asked, you would have said no.
I would have said no.
But because he said, you're going to be my wife, you were in.
Yeah, because he figured out what I would say if somebody asked me. He already went through all of that. That's a thinking person.
I got to tell you, Khalilah, you are a complex individual.
Yeah.
You are complex.
He didn't want to hear no for an answer.
So once you agree to be his wife How soon do you
yeah.
marry?
Okay, I married him. I was 16 then. I just graduated from high school, and it was um, after I became 17 the next year.
And what was the wedding like?
I didn't want a big wedding. Of course, he was stripped of everything. He didn't have any money. His last wife, he took everything he had. They took away his credit cards and everything. He didn't have. He couldn't fight. They stripped him of that. So he didn't have anything. He couldn't fight. He couldn't do anything. He was in exile. And my father did not want that man to marry me. He said, "This man got nothing to help my wife, my daughter. I'm not going to come to your wedding. I'm not doing it. I'm not going to give you my blessing." I go, "What?" So, okay. So I got ready to get married anyway. And at the day of my wedding, my father shows up with my mom. And I said, "Dad, what happened?" He said, "I changed my mind." He said, "Why did you change your mind?" He said, "Because you wasn't going to change yours, and you were my only daughter, my first daughter, and so I got to support you. I hope this is not going to be a mistake." And it wasn't. It wasn't a mistake.
Well, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Because you being a daddy's girl, I'm sure your father's blessing was pretty
And
important.
that was the first time I went against my father's wishes.
Wow.
Yeah. That was that kind of freaked him out. He go, "Oh my goodness."
Another strike of confidence.
So Ali's manager at the time had a home he was building for his daughter and gave it to us. He said, "Now, I ain't gonna have any money or nothing." I said, "Don't worry about it. We'll be okay."
Where did you live after you got married?
He was in a house in
that
Chicago.
house. In that
house in Chicago.
And did he have a job?
No.
How were you surviving?
Well, I was surviving. I used to work. I had money of my own.
Okay.
You know.
So you were supporting Muhammad Ali.
Yeah, I have supported
in the early years of the marriage.
I told my dad to give me my college money.
How much was that?
I can't tell you that. I don't talk finance on TV.
Understood. So you told your dad, "Please give my college fund so that we can survive," basically. And your dad did it without objection?
No objection. He gave it to me. He didn't give it to him.
Okay. And how long were you married to Muhammad Ali?
10 years. 4 beautiful kids.
What kind of husband was he?
Well, we had to build our brand. I helped him write speeches, and I called some colleges for him to go to speak in dedication of his stand to represent not going to the war and why. And we would go coast to coast and make money that way. We would get about $3,500, $2,500, certain colleges and everything. And the very first college was tempting. He had a beautiful speech. Everybody praised him and they clapped for him. They were so happy to see him. And then a Caucasian guy shouted out, said, "Go home, you Jeff Dodger nit." So what? "Go home, you Jeff Dodger nit." You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
He said, "I ain't doing this. I ain't gonna do this. They embarrassing me. I ain't doing this." I said, "Look, Ali," I said, "Look, don't worry about that guy." He said, "But you're not getting up there getting embarrassed. He's embarrassing me to say something like that to me." And it was a beautiful speech. And bust this bubble right there. He said, "You go out there and do it. I ain't doing it. I ain't doing it no more." I said, "Let me tell you a story." I said, "A long time ago, your grandmother used to tell you to stop throwing rocks at that donkey." And Clay would keep throwing rocks at the donkey. He said, "One day you're going to hit that donkey. He's going to die. He's going to come back and haunt you." Ladies and gentlemen, I believe that ass is in here tonight. And when he said that story, everybody clapped and he walked away.
Wow.
So he was so anxious to tell the story. He would tell it every time this heckler would do that. All of a sudden, the heckler stopped. But Ali liked the story so much, he would plant somebody in the audience just to say what that guy said.
Wow.
Just to get it. Yeah, it was amazing. He said, "You are amazing."
So in a way, you were not only Muhammad Ali's wife, but also his publicist
Yeah.
and manager.
Yeah, I had to give him confidence at all times, no matter what it looked like, what it sound like.
So this
And
is
then-
how he
but
made his living.
That's how he
speaking.
made his living. Yeah.
And you were
I
on the
said,
road.
yeah, and I said, one of these days, they're going to get you your license. Trust me. You're not going to go to jail.
How many
and
years?
he said, how you know all this? You've never been anywhere. How do you-" And I said, just
How many years was he on the speaking
3 years.
circuit? Okay, 3
3 years. And then some gangster in Philadelphia told us to come to Philadelphia. I got a house just for you and your wife. Big, beautiful mansion in Philadelphia in Overbrook.
What was his angle?
Because he wanted to be around this guy because he was so amazing. Because once he won, everybody respected and loved him and they wanted to be around him. So they gave him us a house.
So this Philadelphia person recruited Muhammad and you to move to Philadelphia to build his career as a boxer.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what happened when we was living in that house? We got the call. A guy named Jesse Hill called and said, you got your license to fight again. Wow. And he came down and I told Ali, the man's on the phone, named Jesse Hill. He said, you kidding me? Don't play with me like that. I said, man, go down there and get to the phone. This man's on the phone in the kitchen. Go in the kitchen. Ali gets on the phone. He told him. He cried. I cried. We sat there in the kitchen floor saying the prayers. We were so happy. We hugged each other. It was the most beautiful thing that ever happened to us. Then, at that time, I was pregnant with my twins, girls, at the time. And that was the first fight that I couldn't go to because I had the babies. They were just born. So I couldn't go to
his very first fight since reinstatement?
Yes, sir. Very first. Jerry Quarry was the guy. And I said, don't call this guy any names because he supported you when you wasn't fighting. You didn't go to the war. So don't be nice to Jerry Quarry. Be nice.
Always be nice.
They built up Jerry Quarry as the great white hope.
Let me ask you this question. The Philadelphia guy that gave you the mansion in Philly.
Major Coxon.
Did Muhammad have his license reinstated before or after the move to that mansion?
After.
So why did he offer the mansion if he didn't even know the license was in the bag yet?
They just liked him.
They just liked him.
He was just a popular guy, and they liked him, and they wanted to be. They wanted him to be around him when this guy was running for a campaign for mayor of Philadelphia.
And why was Muhammad's license revoked in the first place?
Because he didn't go to war.
So
that was during the Supreme Court.
So because he didn't go to war, he was not allowed to fight.
At all. And that's the only thing he can make a living by.
Understood. But it was better than going to the war. So he took, I guess, the lesser of two evils.
Yeah.
All right. So now,
yeah, go ahead.
We're in a great chapter.
Yeah.
You're in the mansion still in Philadelphia.
Yes.
And Muhammad is now reinstated as a boxer.
Yeah.
Does everything at that point just go up? What happened?
Everything went up because everybody began to like him more when he won the fight. They didn't like him before. Not even African American people didn't like him because they say he wasn't fighting for his country and da da da. But when he won the Supreme Court, everybody respected his stand, so he became more popular. And then when he got there, they said there was a lot of racist people down in Atlanta. They heard guns going off during the camp or something. Somebody shot a gun in near the gym or whatever. And then he won the fight. And when he won the fight, I got a phone call from Atlanta. A man said, he win, you lose, the bomb goes off at midnight. We got a bomb threat in my house. Oof. And I go, this is crazy. And I had to get all the kids and leave the house and go to the Major Coxon's apartment. I figure if somebody's going to call you to blow you up, I think that's kind of stupid. I don't think if they're going to blow you up, they ain't going to call you to warn you. So I think it's just bogus. And it was bogus. It was just to scare us.
Thank God.
But you don't know what comes with this kind of lifestyle. This lifestyle is very threatening. Your family's always threatening. Um, when we moved to Cherry Hill, New Jersey, um, the Major Coxon got shot and killed in his house near our house.
What?
And I flew back to Chicago. You know, it's so much involved that they don't tell you that happens in your lifetime. It's always a threat or something like that, or, you know, whether it's racist or not. It's not always racist. It's always jealousy or whatever. But that's something that goes with the territory when you are in the limelight.
Yes.
But I've always had faith, very strong amount of faith and prayer, and so it didn't bother me as bad as it would bother somebody else because I was grounded in my faith.
At this point in the marriage, you're living in the Philly mansion. Muhammad Ali has just won his first fight. At this juncture, does he stop being a speaker, or is he now 100% into the vision of being a fighter?
Being a fighter, but he also adds his speeches on top of it. They started calling him more and more around town. But you know, there was a point when we was in exile that we didn't cover is the fact that Frank Sinatra used to carry us around with him with his tour. When he was at the Fontainebleau Hotel and in New York City. We used to go hang with him. We had no money or anything. He would take us, he put us in a hotel next to him. He would take us out to eat every night. We was living the life with Frank Sinatra most of the time.
Well, you know, my favorite karaoke song is My Life. I mean, I'm a huge Frank Sinatra fan.
That's
so,
right.
How did you meet Frank Sinatra?
Frank Sinatra used to come to Ali, and when he was in exile, and say, "Come join us." He would give us a room in the hotel, and just hang with him. When we would go to New York, Frank would say, "I'll put you in the Americana Hotel, and we'll go out." There's a song that he used to sing, and he would sing about Toots Shores. And Toots Shores was a Jewish guy who had a restaurant. Anybody was there. I met Jimmy Durante there, George Global there, Henry Youngman there, Jackie Gleason there.
Oof.
I met all these amazing people, Milton Berle, and we met him at Toots Shores. And they had the best steaks. You know, and it was just we were just roaming with Frank. And then when we went to Vegas, we roamed with Frank and Elvis. That's when we got into Elvis at the end of the 60s. And I went shopping with Elvis. I got gifts from Elvis. It was just, and we did karate stances with Elvis. These were the best times of our life.
How did the door open to meeting Elvis?
Well, Ali, I had got him a job. See, back in the day, when a boxer would have a fight, they would invite famous fighters and introduce them in the ring before the fight. They don't do that anymore, but they did it then. And so when they would get in the ring and introduce a fighter, then the fight would begin. So I was able to get $5,000 for Ali just to show up to Caesar's Palace to introduce himself before a fight because he couldn't fight. So when he had got out of the ring, I mean, that was the fastest 5,000 I ever seen in my life that quickly. And that was a lot of money then. When it was over, Ali said, "I got to go to the bathroom." And he said, "Muhammad, take this key and go to the restaurant. And right behind that restaurant, there's a door, a secret door. You go in that hallway, go to the bathroom. And if you go on the other end of the hallway, you can go directly to your suite." So we opened the door. We went in. I stood outside. I had my Kodak Instamatic camera in my hand. And I waited outside the bathroom door. And I see Elvis walking toward me. And I go, "Oh, my goodness, Elvis. Oh, my God, you got to stay there." Because he said, "Why?" I said, "I want to take a picture with you and my husband because I always wanted to know if you was taller than him or he was taller than you. I want to know. He said, well, where's your husband? I said, he's in the bathroom. And no minute I said it, Ali comes out of the bathroom. Elvis looked at Ali and goes, I love this guy. And Elvis hugged Muhammad and hugged me. I said, Elvis, against the wall. He said, Muhammad, your wife needs a picture. I know I'm shorter than you. I get it. I get it. But I took a picture with my camera, and on my phone, I have a picture of that picture on my phone now.
We'll put it into the final episode.
Yes.
But that is unbelievable.
Yeah.
So again, confidence, coming in there, going up to Elvis, being ready with the camera. You are the ultimate promoter.
Yeah.
You are the ultimate.
Well, you know, I learned it from my mom. She said, never form your lips to say, I shoulda, woulda, coulda. Just do it. And that's what made me do that.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that and you know what I love is the law of making him feel comfortable. You were like, Elvis, I just want to see who's taller, who's short.
Yeah, but I was just being real. I was being real.
You know, if you keep it real, because, you know, let's talk about the law, you know, quick side note of going up to celebrities. You've met so many celebrities. So you see Jackie Gleason. Yeah. What do you say to Jackie Gleason?
I say, Jack, can you still play pool, man? I go, you said, yeah, you want to see me? I said, yeah, I can go bet on you, though. But it's just that if you're real with people, they'll be real with you.
That's true.
And I asked Jimmy Durante, I said, Jimmy, now, Miss Calabash, when he used to close his show on network, he would say, good night, Miss Calabash, wherever you are. I asked him, is there really a Miss Calabash? He said, yes, it is. He said, I used to love that woman to death.
Is Jackie Gleason as funny behind the scenes as he is in front of the camera?
The man doesn't turn off, ever.
Never.
Never turns off.
He was a pistol.
All the time.
Love it.
24/7. To the moon, Alice, you got it every time.
Which celebrity during your journey with Muhammad Ali made you a little nervous?
Made me
Did anybody make you nervous or nobody?
No.
All right. Which celebrity were you most excited to meet?
Charlton Heston. I was excited to meet Lee Strasberg. You know, there were some other actors, older actors that I met. I met Cicely Tyson and Roscoe Lee Brown. He's another actor. He had perfect speech. And the guy is from Mississippi. And I thought he was from England. And it's just so surprising to meet these great people, you know, and you know, James Earl Jones. I mean,
wow,
these are blockbusters. Like, I've never met Morgan Freeman, but I've always wanted to meet him.
Oh, let's put that out there. Let's manifest.
Come on, let's manifest.
Morgan, call Khalilah right now.
Morgan, call me, baby. I love you because I used to watch him on Electric Company.
I know you like that voice. That famous Morgan Freeman voice.
I wish
us.
I had a voice such as good as
you have a pretty beautiful voice.
Damn it.
So, of all these celebrities that you've met,
but you know what?
Yeah,
it's not the celebrities that was amazing. I tell you, one man that made me nervous. I'm gonna be honest with you, and you might not know who it is.
Okay.
You're from the Caucasian persuasion. You don't think you know about this guy.
Try me.
And I admire smelling cigars because of this guy. His name is Adam Clayton Powell Jr. I didn't think so. Anybody know Adam Clayton Powell Jr.? But he was a pastor and an activist and a civil rights shaker and mover. Handsome man ever. I mean, he reminds you of Cesar Romero, but he's Afro-American.
So you liked him.
I told Ali, I told Ali he's the most beautiful man I've ever seen in my life. He said, what?
What would you have done? Did you flirt with him?
He's the most beautiful man in the ever world. No, I didn't flirt with him, but I told Ali, I said, I ain't gonna lie to you. He's the most beautiful man I ever saw.
Sounds like Muhammad could have had some potential competition there.
He would have.
Could have been a situation.
I was a good wife, man. I just wanted to tell him how beautiful he was.
I
Him
love
and
that.
his wife were beautiful.
Let me ask you this though. In today's world with influencers and celebrities, we can uplift one another
Yes, we
through the
can.
concept of community empowerment.
Yes, we can.
In your day, when you're with Frank Sinatra and Muhammad Ali, obviously, and Elvis, did any of these celebrities play a role in elevating the Muhammad Ali brand?
Oh, definitely. They just bragged about him, and they took us around like we were his buddies. And he knew this. They knew the situation we were in. He would give us hotel suites, gave us steaks. I mean, it was just something he shared with his life. It wasn't a hand me down or nothing. I didn't look at it as that. I looked at it as much respect.
I think
They
he
gave
also
respect.
enjoyed being with you guys. Frank
Yeah.
Sinatra, come on, Khalilah and Muhammad, let's go to dinner.
Can I tell you something? When I was in California, I was pregnant with my daughter, Miriam. I didn't know anything about the celebrity life. And Ali went somewhere to be all day with Jim Brown and everything, or do this movie together with all these basketball players and football players. They were all together. And I said, I'm going to stay in the hotel. I stayed in the hotel, the Century Plaza Hotel in California. And I got up and I wasn't sick. I was feeling good. So I went downstairs and rented a car from Hertz Rent a Car. And then the first thing on the sidewalk was a map of the stars in California, 25 cents. I paid 25 cents, gave it to the lady standing next to the stand, all by herself. And I got it, I went the car, and I started going to the houses of these stars. But Blanca, I not only drive in front of the house, I got out of the car and I rung the doorbell. Hence, I met Ella Fitzgerald, Doris Day, Milton Berle, Jimmy Stewart, Robert Mitchum, and Milton Berle. Right. I rung the doorbell, and they answered the door.
And did your jaw drop to the floor, or
I was
or
so
you just
excited.
went?
He said, "Who are you?" I said, "I'm Muhammad Ali's wife. I'm expecting. I just thought I'd come and ring the doorbell. I just don't want to look at the house. If you wasn't home, you wasn't home." And they said, "Come on in and have some coffee." I had coffee. I had milk and cookies with Doris Day. I had coffee and cake with Ella Fitzgerald. And Milton Berle had this big black Labrador retriever barking. He said, this dog is as crazy as it gets. You should go see Jimmy Stewart. He loves Muhammad Ali. And he told me where Jimmy Stewart's house. I went and met Jimmy Stewart and his wife. They was on their way out of town in their airplane. And I met Robert Mitchum. And you know what? I felt great.
So let's play a game. One word. Describe what word comes to mind when I say the name Frank Sinatra?
Romance.
Doris Day.
Beautiful and colorful.
Ella
warm. She's warm. Ella Fitzgerald, just a wholesome woman.
Elvis.
Crazy. He's crazy. I've never seen this man. I mean, this man opened up a mall and got everything we wanted to get in a cart and put it in the truck and went back to the hotel. And it was 3:00 in the morning. And he was the most unusual, unorthodox person I've ever met in my entire life.
Was he messy or was he?
No, he was wonderful.
Elvis?
He was warm.
Nice.
He was friendly.
Bubbly.
He made us get all we wanted. I got a cart full of stuff.
Now, what's the one word you would use to describe Muhammad Ali?
Me? Eccentric. He's an eccentric. Can I tell you something?
Of course.
When I was divorcing him, I said, I'm not going to be your wife. I'm going to be your friend. You can flounder and do whatever you want because you're not going to do it on my watch. And I was just curious. And he knows I know when he lies because I know him that well. I said, everybody wants to be like you. I want you to tell me who you want to be like. I swear to God, I did not expect that answer. He looked at me and said, if I could be that much like you, that's what I want to be like. I did not see that coming. I said, what are you talking about? He said, because you're strong, you don't take no stuff from nobody, and you tell it like it is, but you're strong. I'm weak. When it comes to women, I'm weak. I have no sense of authority, no sense of pride, nothing. I'm weak. I said, well, I'm glad you said that. But I didn't see that coming at all. He said, you didn't figure that out? I said, no, I didn't figure that out at all. He said, that surprised you? I said, yes, it surprised me. I thought you was going to say Malcolm X or somebody. I didn't know you was going to say me. He said, no, because I respect you.
So in that moment, he essentially also confessed to being unfaithful.
He said, no, he never said he wasn't unfaithful.
How soon into the marriage did he become unfaithful?
When I caught him, it was I think it was already 5 years into the marriage.
When I caught him, it
broke,
but you
oh
didn't.
My God, that was the worst feeling I ever had. I was outside in a car, and he came outside of this bar and kissed a woman on the side of the bar, and I was looking at him, and it's like my whole body got hot, and I go, why would he do that? And that broke my heart. I mean, that's when my heart was broken for the first time.
But you forgave him and continued with the marriage at that point in time.
Yeah, I didn't forgive him that quickly. It broke my heart. I was wondering how long he's been doing this. And so now I'm watching out for it. I didn't say anything. I never told him I saw him.
You never told him?
Nope.
That takes a lot of self-control.
I did. I didn't say anything.
I don't know
I didn't even tell him.
I don't know that I could keep that inside.
But it's just the worst feeling I have ever had in my entire life. I didn't know what to do. And I just said, well, I'm just going to keep my eyes open just in case. And then I asked him, I said, maybe a month, 2 months later, I said, are you loyal to me? And he said, yes. I said, are you sure? He said, yes. I said, okay. All right. What? That broke my heart too.
I know. It really, because it was just another act of deception. Yeah. So let me ask you this question.
But I just said maybe he'll get over it, or maybe he's going through something.
Maybe it's a phase.
Yeah, maybe he's going through something. I'm just gonna.
What was the final straw where you just said, I've had enough. I'm not putting up with adultery. I'm not putting up with this?
When he had a woman in my house, I still didn't leave him. He asked me to go buy something. I came back and this lady was in my room in my bed.
So what were you feeling when you finally said enough?
When I was in Manila at the Joe Frazier fight, I went out there, and then I said he was showing off. Had a girlfriend, Veronica, Layla's mother at the time. She was the girl, and his girlfriend at the time. And I said to him, I said, you know what? Since you cannot stop going with these women, I said, and I can't stop you from going with, I said, God's just going to have to stop you. I said, one day you're not going to be able to get it up. You're not going to be able to walk. You're not going to be able to talk. Matter of fact, you're not going to be able to sit or stand. You're going to be a vegetable before it's over. I said, that's when God is going to take it away from you. Because I can't do it. You can't do it. But it's coming. And I said, I feel sorry for you. But I got to let you go. I got to let you go. I'll be your friend. I'll be your sister. I won't be your wife, but I'll be your sister. We got children to raise. We're going to be good. You got a problem, you want to ask me, you can call me anytime you want to ask me anything. I'll be there for you. But I got to let you go.
How did he take it,
He
Muhammad
didn't
Ali?
like it at all. He said, you can't do that. I said, yes, I can. I will. He said, no, you won't. I said, yes, I will.
So how soon after that conversation did the divorce go through?
Okay, so I said, I'm going to leave you. I'm going to be done with you after the Foreman fight. I'll be done. That'll be the last fight I help you with.
And you didn't help him as a promoter manager anymore since
I helped
the divorce?
him for that one fight.
For the
Yes,
last fight.
For the last fight.
But that was the last fight. Did he win or lose the last
He
fight?
won. He won that one, because if he hadn't, I was going to whip him on Wide World of Sports. I was going to put him on the mat, on the floor, and do a karate thing and beat him and let him see a woman can whoop him.
Well,
but he won the fight.
He won the fight. He won the fight.
He won
but
the
he
fight.
lost the war because he lost you.
He lost me. Yeah. But
So,
it was okay. It was a beautiful fight. I'm glad he won. I asked him to learn these prayers. And so, because you have to win this fight, And nobody knew that he was going to win. Everybody thought, even in the camp, everybody thought he was going to lose. I'm the only one that had faith in him.
After going through this journey,
yeah,
and obviously being deeply hurt by someone you supported from a very young age.
It actually broke me. It actually broke me. I was in a very dark place, very bad place. It was like I didn't know what to do after that. And then I started getting into my religion in a very strong way. After I had snapped, I came back and said, you know what? I'm going to deal with this religion in a different way. I see Prophet Muhammad, who I've been reading books about, and Jesus and Moses and all of these great men of our biblical period and our biblical history. These men were the greatest men of all times. They were not only great men, but these men were handsome men. They were drop dead gorgeous. I feel that because they attracted the poor. They attracted it. And the only time a man attracts is because he's beautiful in his face. But he had something behind that. And that was character. His character was perfect. His demeanor was grand, respectful, decent. And I said, if I can get our kids to be decent, mannerable, kind, like these men, we'll have a better community. We'll have a better man source. We'll have a better husband. And so I created this coloring book that teaches manners. If we can instill it in our kids, and we as adults, now see, don't think about my coloring book, it's for kids and adults. You see, the adults don't have coloring books, but this one does, because we adults lose our manners every single day. Disrespect every single day. They disrespect women. The women disrespect the men. We need our women to respect our men.
So you took your pain from this divorce and turned it into this creative project.
Yeah.
You turned it into a purpose where you were going to teach better etiquette, higher standards.
Yes. So the men like Ali wouldn't get distorted by the world, the way the world life, like P. Diddy. This man is being ridiculed because of his character. He messed up his character. He didn't have to go down that road.
What is your advice?
And they're good people by nature. These are great men
with some character flaws, with some disability. We don't know exactly,
and they take it too far.
Well, they're manifesting behavior that's only hurting themselves.
It's hurting themselves.
How do you think the divorce?
These men generally are great people.
How do you think the divorce affected Muhammad Ali's brand?
Well, I don't think it hurt his brand, but that it made him a man that it's not loyal, and you know that broke my heart
Of
for him
course.
to see that, because I saw a good man, but he got caught up in the rapture, and
It
but
just wasn't important enough.
yeah.
He just couldn't control it. What?
When I told he said, you gonna write a book, huh? He said, oh, he said, you write that book. He called his manager and said, we're gonna have to take the first plane out of the country if she write her book, because we're screwed.
Let me ask you
And
a
I said
question.
to him, let me tell you, yeah, go ahead.
What's your advice to women that are recovering from divorce? How do they get out of that dark space and go to the creative place that you did?
Well, you have to build yourself a spiritual foundation. It will not happen without that. I mean, you have to build a spiritual foundation and say, look, you know, God created you to be woman, and nobody should ever discard you, disrespect you, by no means at all. They're not allowed. It's not allowed. Do not accept it. Do not accept disrespect. You do not accept that, because you were created to be balance of man. Man is half a man, woman is half a person. Two halves makes a whole. Without those two strips, you're nothing. And you were created to be everything. You're created to be the balance of life. Nobody said Father Nature, they said Mother Nature. So, you know, you need to get it together, because no one should ever disrespect you, ever. And no one should disrespect the man, too. Don't forget that. You know, you call your men dogs out here. You send bad things to your men. Yeah, they might act like dogs, but don't you call them that, because they're not. They're your strength. They're your provider. They're your provider and protector by nature. Don't ever do that.
It all goes back to the principle of respect that your parents instilled in you at the very beginning.
Yeah.
Respect,
Yeah.
being kind, no profanity. So,
and you don't have to have a parent to teach you that. That's going to come to you with knowledge by yourself. All you people out here that didn't have children, didn't have mothers and fathers, you was created to be somebody. You don't have to have a mother and father to be somebody. All you have to have is a spiritual base. You can be on your own, because God created you to be the best that you can be. He's given you freedom to be who you want to be, and nobody can stop you. So don't give any excuses why this and why that. You were created separately from that. And you can be anything you want to be.
In a way, after this divorce from Muhammad Ali,
yes,
you became a butterfly.
Yeah.
Just like in the poem that you wrote for him.
Yeah.
You have blossomed into an actress, a pilot. A race car driver, a martial arts black belt, an author, a poet.
Even after that, he don't know that he made me stronger than I've ever been.
How?
Because by him rejecting and doing something against me, I knew the power that I already had, and I didn't need him to give it to me. But by him breaking my heart, it was only temporary. Because without him doing that to me, but I took it in a positive way, that made me a better person. So I give him credit for even doing bad things to me and being dishonorable, disrespectful. But I give him credit for even me being stronger than that, because he made me even better than what I was. And a lot of men and women can become better just by them doing something back to you. If you have a positive mind, you take it positive instead of negatively.
Well, you're absolutely right. Down. I mean, did you get to that mindset right away, or did it take a few years to look back and say, you know what? Thank you for doing this.
It took me years. It took me years to heal. When my book came out, I did not say the worst thing that I've ever seen Ali do. I didn't put it in my book. Only because we have children, And they don't need to know the worst. Even the people out here don't need to know the worst that Muhammad Ali do. You know why? It took us a long time for a man like him to stand up and represent. And a lot of men like to be like him. They don't know everything about him, but the best thing that they saw about him was a benefit for our mankind.
Absolutely.
Men need men to lead.
What do you?
Even though he wasn't perfect,
Of
no
course.
one is.
Right.
But he gave more being a better man than a bad man.
I respect that.
Yeah.
I want you to know I
Yeah.
have tremendous respect
Yeah.
for your position on
Yeah.
that, because
'Cause we're not.
because what is the benefit? Let's learn.
Exactly.
Let's learn from the lessons
Yes.
instead of attacking the past.
Exactly.
But what are you most proud of Muhammad Ali for doing?
Well, other than his success and everything, it's one thing that made me forgive him is the fact that I saw his heart. I saw the kindness. He had really good kindness in his heart. He has love for his mom. He has love for his dad. He has a love for poor people. He has love for kids. He has love for older people. He've always respected them. He just have, and he get wrapped up all in this crap. But I can't be mad at him too long because he makes you laugh. He made me laugh. That man made me laugh so much. My jaws would hurt because he would be so funny. Even when he do stupid stuff, he's so innocent. I can see the innocence in him. You know, and that's why I can never hate the guy. I would never hate him. I mean, I can disapprove of what he does and everything, and I'm not going to tolerate his foolishness, but I'll always respect him for being a person who focused on his boxing, who was diligent in his training, he was authentic in his training, and he took it very seriously. And I admire anybody that can go over and beyond that. And that's something I admire. I'll always admire. But I know the kindness in his heart. And everybody in here, I don't care how bad you see somebody, or how bad they do somebody, there's something good in that person that God created. He just won't let it out. Sometimes they just don't let it out. But they have it. Every soul in this world is good people.
I love that law of life,
That law of life is something that is precious. And all you can do is pray for them.
Well, I love the law that says even though someone may have done something wrong, think of the good things that they are inside of them.
And it's this hurt of love is so painful. But you have to realize there is a creator who created you for a purpose. And never forget that, because you're brought here for a purpose.
Love that.
And you don't let no man, no woman take that away from you.
I love that.
Because we were created for a purpose. And we have to search what that purpose is. And we forgive those who make their mistakes. Because we make mistakes. We get on track. They said this person will never learn. They'll never be the same. They'll always be. No, they will not always be the same. They can always get out of that. Some people just choose not to.
Khalilah, you've been through many, many roads. You've met many celebrities, and you were married to the #1 boxer of all time, Muhammad Ali. And now this is your time. You've just written a book, Undefeated. What does this title mean to you?
Well, all the things that I challenged myself with, I felt that I was successful in it. And I felt undefeated because everything that I stood for and represented was successful. The courses that I went through that was tough for me, I feel that I was successful in it. And I just thank God that I'm a better person for it. There are different roads that you could go down when you make the wrong choices. And sometimes you just want to give up. And I just said, I can't give up. I have to do this. I have to straighten myself out. I have to do what I need to do, you know. And things were going to get better. You know what I learned in life? Patience. Time heals everything. Time is a healer. And I feel that I've been healed through time. And it seems I've been guided. I was guided all the way, all the time. I was always guided in the right space, in the right time. Sometimes you don't know what the hell to do. You get confused. Don't be confused. You're here for a purpose. And that's what I feel. I was here for a purpose. Whatever my purpose was, I'm here. I'm blessed to be as old as I am. There are many times I know I could have been gone. There are many times I got in positions that it could have killed me.
Mm.
But my faith carried me through all these obstacles.
So your book, Undefeated, is a compilation of many of the challenges you faced and how you overcame them.
How I overcame them, yeah.
Which challenge are you most proud of that you overcame?
The biggest challenge that I overcame was when I was in a dark place and I didn't know which way to go. And all I did was try to do the right thing, and everything seems like every time I do the right thing, it came out wrong. Everything I hoped for and I prayed for didn't come out the way I expected. I married not to ever marry again. I wanted to live married life like my mom and dad. It did not happen that way. So I wanted to know, why me? I was trying to be the best wife. I was trying to be the best mother, and just didn't come out right. Everything went wrong. Everything that I thought was going to go well, they went well, but then all the other things went wrong. And it wasn't the fact that it went wrong, it was just meant to be happen that way.
So, in other words, you're proud of yourself for getting to the mindset that you're going to go with the flow of the universe.
Yes.
And you've learned now to accept the ups and the downs as they come.
Right. Just because you want something to go your way don't mean it's not going to be okay. But I learned to accept what has happened to me, what I had to go through. I went through turmoils with my children. I went through a big thing. Even right now, I still have negative things that they don't believe me in certain things, but I don't care anymore. If they don't believe me, I don't care. If they don't believe, I don't care. If you don't believe it, you don't believe it. You can't make somebody make you believe anything. So I learned to don't worry about that. You know,
this is your chapter.
This is my chapter. I had them, which is a blessing. I pray for them to be okay. I prayed for their guidance. Time changes everything. They might not come out the way you want it, but it's okay, as long as you came out okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I love the book because we can all read deeper. We can dig deeper. Everyone should definitely buy a copy of Undefeated because it's an incredible book. And if you're enjoying this conversation, you can get even more details about Khalilah meeting Elvis and all these. Now tell us about the next creative project, Pure Justice.
Pure Justice. I you know, by me not being with Ali, that's no problem. That's just my history. But I want to be known for something to be guided by. Half of my family was in law enforcement, and my favorite uncle, my daddy's brother, Uncle Jack, Jack Boyd, and he was a great cop, and he was a great chef too. He was a chef at one of the most racist white restaurants in Mississippi called Wardell's, and he loved them all down there. And I play a sergeant in the Florida Police Department, and my name was Jacqueline Boyd, but they call me Jack, like my uncle. Aww. So I'm actually carrying on his police work in my series. Um, he was a great detective. He's one of the greatest black sheriffs in Mississippi. And my uncles, they never was into the race thing. They had white friends. They worked for them. They respect them, and they respected him. And these are my detectives. And this here is Noah. Noah is also he came to me. We went to an MMA fight. Noah came to me and said, "I want to be in your movie."
Wow.
And Noah was a young man who was married to J-Lo, Jennifer Lopez.
Right.
That was her first husband. And he went through trials and tribulations with J-Lo as well. And he was treated in a bad way, but he survived.
Right.
He was a great model and everything. And this is this man right here, Chris Garcia. He's one of the actors. He plays the pirate adventure in Orlando. Great actor.
Amazing.
And this guy, he's an actor here. He's here in Florida. She also played in the Pirates of the Caribbean. She was the captain's wife on the ship. She became one of my detectives. And this is a law-abiding citizen here. He's going to be chief of police. And this is my little actor who's in my casting agency. I've followed his career. Eric Lawson, EC.
Love
He's a very positive young man. So I keep them and I put them together. We always work together. And we're coming out with pure justice because we want to eradicate the racism, black side and white side of racism, and for how they handle people in the police department.
I love that. How many episodes will be in this series?
Well, right now it's going to be just a feature movie.
Okay.
There is an opening for a season to go seasonally, but we won't know until we negotiate. I mean, right now I'm doing the trailer for the movie to raise money for the film itself, and this is something I've always wanted to do. I'm a big fan of Cecil B. DeMille, who did Ten Commandments. And I've always in Walt Disney, so I kind of put those two together. That's my baby right there.
I love
Pure
it.
Justice be my first positive film role.
Incredible.
And I hope people enjoy it. We will not allow profanities in the film. We want to be able for children to see it, to see how adults act and behave, and we cut out there's going to be no profanity. If it is, it'll be bleeped out.
I love that. Well, congratulations on your book, Undefeated, on this vision of this incredible movie entitled Pure Justice. We, of course, wish you only all the luck. We know you're going to be undefeated in this project and anything you do because you're a fighter.
Yes, sir. Yes,
you are a fighter. What is your number one law of life?
My number one law of life is prayer. To be focused on prayer, to be guided, to be forgiven for everything you've done in your life, and to be kind. That's it. That's always.
Does this law of life stem from your parents?
No, this law of life stemmed from me accepting my religion. I chose it myself. Just because somebody give you a religion because you're a child, if it doesn't work for you, you seek where you want to get it from. And this is something that my mother and father, of course, they were Muslims, but I chose it because I believe in it. I'm a believer in the words that it represents. I believe in my faith because it has helped me go through so much. And my mother, my father was not there for that, but my Creator was there to heal me. And I chose to stay where I'm at because I get truth out of it and I'm a true believer in it because it works for me.
It works for you.
And it works for me.
And like we talked about, it's not really the name of the religion. You believe in the creator within the sphere that you do.
And I accept the name of my religion. I accept being a Muslim. I accept praying to Allah. I accept it because I believe it. But people can believe whatever they want to believe.
Of course.
If you're guiding on the right path because you were created on the right path in the first place, whatever you seek knowledge to make you whole, to make you be a believer, choose it. As long as it's positive, and choose it.
I love that.
Yeah, I love it too.
Because at the end knowledge.
That's right. Seek it.
Knowledge.
Yeah.
That's what matters.
And before you leave this life, before you go into the next life, trust me, you're going to find the truth. When you leave this world, you're going to go into another world because it exists. Whether you believe it or not, it exists, and you will see that. And I just pray I'm on the right side when I go up there because that's where I'm going to go.
Well, you got a good lawyer, so you got to...
I love you.
There's no question in my mind you will always be on the right side because you are an extraordinary woman. It is an honor to call you my friend. And not just a friend, a very close friend, sister. And, speaking of, Muhammad Ali's talent in making you laugh, you definitely make me laugh.
Yes.
We've had a lot of adventures together.
Right? I want to say to it, in all, I'm thankful for the knowledge. I'm thankful for the guidance. I'm thankful for my children. I'm thankful for the life that I went through because it all made me positive. It all made me grow into a beautiful woman. It made me grow, and I'm happy to have, if I had to do it any other way, I wouldn't. I would keep that path. I like the way my path came, the good and the bad, because it made me a stronger person. And I don't regret anything that I've ever done in my lifetime, good or bad. I don't regret it because I learned from it.
So if you could go back,
I wouldn't
you wouldn't erase a single thing.
I wouldn't change a thing.
You wouldn't erase the pain?
But that pain's made me strong. Some people don't go through that and they don't feel anything. Then they'll go down the wrong path and never come out. Some people don't even survive because they don't try to stand up and do what's right. See, they don't know when you're doing something wrong and you know you're wrong, and you know you're wrong. You're not stupid. When you do something wrong, you know you're wrong. And then until you get out of that and say, hey, I'm not going to do all what's wrong. I'm going to go on the right path and chose that path. And trust me, you'll never regret it. You'll never regret anything you've done. Now, I take whatever went to me, I learned from it, I survived it. I wouldn't change a thing. I wish it had came out differently, but I wouldn't change what already has happened because I wouldn't be me. I wouldn't be here talking to you. I would not be here.
I love that.
So I don't regret anything I've done. As long as I chose the right path to go down, to respect all other people's faith and religion, I respect it. Because if they got something out of their religion that made them positive and pure, so be it.
Well, you just gave me a law of life that just came to me inside my heart in this moment.
Yes, really?
Absolutely.
Oh.
Which is go with the flow of the journey.
That's right.
Because you're destined to be the best version of yourself. However, you're going to have a greater journey if you apply the laws of life of Khalilah Ali, if you apply respect, professionalism. Respect. So if you apply all these laws of life and you do your best,
that's right.
What will be, will be.
That's right. That's right. You know, when I see people, I'm driving in the car, and you know how people in all cities, people come up to the car begging for money all the time. And a lot of people say, oh, they're going to take that money and go get drugs with. You don't know that. You don't know what they're there for. They're not there to steal your car. So give a helping hand. Don't care about what they look like, a drug addict. You do not know what they're going to do with it. They could be a drug addict and come up there and get $20 from you and change their whole life and say, I'm done with this. I'm going to get some food. I'm going to straighten my life. You do not know what's in that person's mind. And don't try to think you know so much. You don't know nada. Do not judge people when they do that. You just give them what they want. Give them. You got something to give? Give.
I
You
agree.
don't care about where they are, what they look like. You don't do that. You're not God. You can't tell what's in their head or what they're going through or what they're going through. And you driving a car and you don't want to give $1 or $5. What's wrong with you?
If you,
You know,
I have a
I don't
philosophy
like,
on
I
this.
hate that when
You
people do
well,
that.
when I'm going to tell you two things. The first is my philosophy is that the strangers that come into your path are angels,
They are.
and if you're kind to them, something magical could happen. Do you agree?
I agree.
All right,
I
because
agree.
one of the things I love about you is when we went to the airport to go to the presidential award you received.
That's right.
We went to Houston, Texas, and
Yep.
we were in the airport together. And I loved how you went up to every person in that airport, shook their hand, kissed their babies, showed them love. Where do you get the physical and mental energy to show so much love?
I don't know. It's just, and you look at people and they admire you or something like that. They want a little autograph. It's going to hurt. What is it going to hurt? Give them what they want. Give them. I can't help everybody, but it's just trying to be kind to somebody. The first thing that somebody do when they go to places, they either choose a racial derivative or some racial act or think it's a racial act. You don't think like that. If you don't think that way, that's not what you're going to get. Everybody needs to be respected. If somebody treats you bad, let them go ahead and treat you bad. Just be kind. Just be kind. Just say, I'm sorry, sir. Yes, sir. If they can only do it for so long, but they ain't going to do it if you don't submit to their foolishness. Because people, it's one thing I learned people will do, provoke you to do something. That if they can provoke you, then they got you. But don't let people provoke you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's another great law. You don't have to respond with anger. You can react with kindness.
That's right.
But you can also protect yourself.
At the same time.
And I think that's a really important lesson.
It is.
And it's amazing the love and joy that you're spreading throughout the world. And we look forward to continuing to learn from you. And I'm going to be creating a collaborative book. Okay. I would like to invite you to write a chapter, The Laws of Khalilah Ali in it.
Really?
Are you in?
I'm in.
Let's go.
And you know what? Just to say this. I'm so amazing of your beautiful podcast. And I'm thinking about bringing out my podcast. I want everybody to be on the podcast. And by you doing this, I just have the reason why I want to do a podcast, because I have something to tell certain women that will support them and help them, because they need so much guidance. I have needed guidance and I got it. And I learned from other women telling me their stories. And I hope and pray that in my podcast, I can give something back to women. I mean, they have women that don't know how to dress. They just go on with the flow of seeing everybody else do everything. You do not do that. They have injections in their breasts, the injections in their buttocks. This is not what a woman should do. Be thankful for what you have. Don't go over and beyond and be overzealous with things. And I'm just going to be a sister to tell you what I feel and hope it helps them.
I love
If they don't accept it, it's okay. It's okay.
I think you're going to change a lot of lives with this podcast of yours.
Women have changed my life and men have changed my life. And I think our women should be a little bit more kinder to our men and stop all the rhetoric, stop hollering and screaming at them. To talk to a man with respect and kindness, because you can get more out of honey than you ever out of vinegar. You know what I'm saying?
That's
Your
absolutely.
Mama used to say that, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Let me ask you.
A man should never scream. A woman should never scream.
I agree. You should never. There should be no yelling. No. And I'm blessed to say that that's my experience currently. Question for you.
Yeah.
Because I'm just learning so much, and this
Like you.
I love the way your brain works. Like, I love you. There's a lot of debate over the 50-50 rule. Like, when a man and a woman go on a date, there's two frames. The man and woman go 50-50 on the date, and a lot of women say that the man should pay 100-0. Where do you stand on that?
Well, this is the thing. If a man invites you out to dinner, and he's inviting you out to dinner, obviously he's paying for dinner. That's what I'm thinking. Okay. I usually don't care. So if a man if he doesn't want to take a woman out to dinner, he can't afford it to dinner. He shouldn't take her out to dinner.
So if he makes the invite, I think he should pay. I think if she makes the invite, she should pay.
Yeah,
that's your law.
Yeah, but I think the man should always pay. If they're friends or something like that, they can go Dutch, and they should say that. But a woman should never go with the man and eat dinner and he expecting something from her. That's not good. A man should never try to pay for sex or pay for by feeding her dinner or doing that. That's not the way to do things. That's not the way.
We got to fall in love with the mind before we fall in love with the rest.
Fall in love with the mind. Don't even get caught in that situation.
So let me tell us this. I'm sure a lot of people out there are watching because
I'm just old-fashioned. I think the man should always pay. But if you guys have a certain job or something and y'all can go Dutch, that's respectful. That's just respectful.
Well,
I said this is a new day and time. They do that now. So,
it's a new time.
Yeah.
Well, I know a lot of people are watching this podcast and they're thinking to themselves, is Khalilah single because she's exquisitely beautiful? And they want to know, what is the perfect first date for Dr. Khalilah Camacho Ali? What would be your perfect first date that would sweep you off your feet?
You know what? Well, right now, I just choose celibacy right now because if I'm thinking about anybody, it would be somebody I would marry. I would be considering marriage. I'm too old for the song and dance thing. I'm not into all of that. You see, we sit and talk to each other, learn about each other, talk about what we like, what we don't like, over dinner with friends at somebody's house or something like that.
So that's your perfect first date, dinner with friends?
Yeah, dinner with friends. I don't like go with men alone and all of that. I don't do all that.
I like that. That's a great idea.
It's old-fashioned with friends. This is the best way because this way you don't get the wrong impression. You don't get lured in something that you don't want. And you just be straight up front. I think you should just be totally straight up front. If we are at a dinner with some other people together, I think that's more proper to be together with other people. Mm-hmm. And if they want to talk and you have interest, you can talk. And you're around other people. Never go with somebody alone.
I like that. I think that.
Don't go alone because you're not protected. You're the person. You don't know who that person is. And these days, you woman have to really be careful. Really be careful. Don't be on the loose. And then you got women that have been provoked by getting over intoxicated, and then they take advantage of her. And a woman should never go anywhere with a man alone and get intoxicated and don't know what happened.
Couldn't agree more.
You never, let nobody pour you a drink or something like that. You don't know. They got, stuff that puts it in a drink or something and it changes colors and if there's chemicals in there.
Wow.
Oh, they got some new stuff going on. I don't drink, so it's not going to affect me one bit, but they got little things that
it's amazing.
Yeah, isn't it crazy?
Well, I'm seeing for you again new visions. Every time I speak to you, I'm inspired. Really? So I see you speaking in front of thousands of. You're already speaking all over the world, but I see you pursuing a vision of women's empowerment.
Yes, women empowerment, definitely,
and changing the world. So keep following your path to purpose. Yes. I'm extraordinarily in awe of your accomplishments with your book, Undefeated and Pure Justice.
Yeah.
And thank you for being on the premiere episode of the
I'm
Laws
so
of
happy
Life
to be here,
podcast.
the first one. And you know what? And I actually speak to a lot of women in different countries that the power of women is not that acceptable. And I try to encourage them to be themselves and not to follow that little rule that a woman can't do this, a woman can't do that.
Yeah.
And so I go and I speak to empowerment in different countries when it's not normal.
Wow.
And this is a stronghold, and I still stand up and respect the women in these countries because they have a right to explore their life and their courage, and they have their expertise in a lot of things. Matter of fact, tomorrow I'll be going to Larkin University to give a speech for those who graduated in the pharmaceutical business. So I'll be at Larkin University tomorrow, and I always like going to universities and colleges to inspire them to learn and get good health assistance. A woman should always take care of her health.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so in awe of you. I love you.
Yes, ma'am. I love you too.
Thank you.
And thank you so much. And congratulations on your new podcast. And thank you for letting me be numero uno.
You are amazing.
Thank you. You're a beautiful woman.
Thanks, everybody, for watching.
Thank you for watching, guys. See you in the news.